We have read many times that 95% of the world's wealth is controlled by 5% of the world's population. That looks like an imbalance, right? And it is skewing towards the skew is so steep that we wonder why that statistics is so real. But it is true. You would wonder why will 5% of the population control 95% of what others scramble for, right? That means 5% are holding as much as what 95% are struggling to get, right? So what causes this imbalance? What makes those 5% different from the 95%? What separates from those struggling to succeed from those who succeed exceptionally, whether in business or in career or in on the job, something, or as an entrepreneur or a skillpreneur, whatever it is that you do? We live in changing times, and a lot of things are changing. Either you are in the academia or in the business world, or you are in the corporate space. You must understand that the evolution of times does not permit you to remain the same, right? If you really want to live life on your own terms, then there's only one window out of it, and that's the same thing that is responsible for the 5% that control um, what 95% struggle to get or are scrambling for. You are either at the top of the ladder, at the middle of the ladder, are just at above the line of the ladder, or below the line of the ladder. When you're below the line, you are in a critical state, right? It's just like in an inflationary economy when you are below the line of balance, right? You are in the red zone. Then there are a lot of people that are a little better. They are not below the line, but they are not comfortable, right? They are not comfortable. They are just a little better. It's just like somebody needing um, having to pay for medical bills. He can afford to buy tablets. Some other persons can't even afford to buy a tablet and have no access to any form of education, health facility or anything at all. So they're in the red zone. There are people in the red zone. Some people are in the amber, and some people are in the green zone, and some people are in the blue skies, right? Right. So you have those in the red zone. The amber zone is you are not in red, but you are just a little better than those in red, right? Then they have other people who are right above the amber. They are just average. They can afford to, they are just balanced, right? That is the break even point. And there are those people that are living the ideal life. They can call the shots anytime, live life on their own terms. And it's just one thing that they have mastered. They have mastered how to design their own economy. There are two critical skills in designing your economy. It's about integrity and credibility. Integrity, credibility, and we say probably grit, right? Now, fun story. There was this man that I used to know way back while I was a banker, while I was in banking. I spent about a decade in banking, and that exposed me to quite a number of realities that we may casualize today. And that also informed how I equally designed my own economy. And when the inevitable changes that would happen when times and economics uncertainties happened, I was not left behind. There are a lot of reasons why a lot of competent people are left behind. You'll be wondering, somebody is so competent, so vast, but then a lot of times you find them struggling to survive. Why? Two reasons: procrastination, perfectionism, fear of stepping out. You understand? Fear of stepping out, and the same thing, inaction. So many other reasons could apply, right? But then this man that I knew back in Calabar, where I reside, was a young man who was enterprising but had nothing to really leverage or to start his business. But he had to design his own economy. What did he do? He simply developed little marketing, learned some marketing skills, and approached a phone distributor, right? A phone distributor, and solicited that he gives him maybe 3 to 5 phones, he goes sell and return back. But because he had integrity, everyone around knew him, they had known him for some time. They knew that he does not take what belongs to him. He lives by his word. He had standard. He had values that could attract what favor to him. So he was given this privilege of having to collect between 2 to 5 smartphones to go and trade and pay after trade and get his margin. And he moved from selling sometimes in a day, he could sell 3 phones, and he migrated from 3 phones to 5 phones, from 5 phones to 7 phones to 10 phones. Within a week, sometimes he will sell close to about 10, 15 phones, which sometimes even those that are seated in the office might not be able to hit. He hits the targets that those that are paid salaries were not hitting. Meanwhile, he was running on trust, right? They were engaged based on their competencies, but they were waiting for the customers to come. He went in search of the customer. He had the ability to be able to negotiate and manufacture demand, right? I said, and marketing essentially is the ability to create and keep a customer. That's what business, the sole aim of business is the ability to create and keep a customer. So the owner of this distributorship business thought it wise to let this guy have a shop of his own. If he could do that as an interrent trader, then it means if he have a shop of his own, is going to motivate him to be able to do more. So he gave him the opportunity, he opened another shop and made him the manager of that particular shop. Guess what happened to that guy? All of a sudden, this guy began to do extremely well because of his marketing prowess, his integrity, his customer orientation, and so on and so forth. So there are resident skills inside you that can propel the next thing you want to do. But because you have not activated them, your possibilities have remained dormant, right? So this guy to went to on and began to do exploit in the marketplace because of that privilege, that opportunity, right? And from there, he moved from just selling phones, added accessories to it, phone accessories to it. When he started selling phone accessories, he multiplied his income making capacity, right? So those who come to buy phone can also buy further accessories. Then this young man migrated into reaching out for distributorship for the sales of phone lines, right? He became a distributor for what? For the phone lines, for the telecommunication, companies. Started with, I think, Airtel or so back then, Airtel, and then he later on moved to what? Glow, and then to Etisalat. So he had stands that were stands of distribute these telecommunication companies, right? That were selling their phone lines. So you could get a phone, get the accessory, and equally buy a line. So you see, he had multiplied his stream of income. He moved from zero to multiple seven-figure income. Somebody will ask me, did that happen overnight? No. He had period of apprenticeship which he leveraged on his skill, right? Leveraged on his skill to establish what? A good brand in the market, a good name in the market, and scaled it, right? Scaled his business. And scaling the business multiplied and diversified his income streams. That's how he moved from what? From zero to multiple seven-figure business. Has this happened to me before? Yes, it has. Right? While working as a banker, I don't know if you work in a bank or probably you work in an office and you operate a reactive income model where you are totally dependent on your salary, right? 30 days, one income cycle, and probably on a single income stream, and you have to be dependent on what happens on external factors before you can live life on your own terms, then I'm telling you that you are in for a long thing and shocking surprises anyway, because disruptions are happening on a daily basis. And if you're totally dependent on external factors, then your stability is not guaranteed. So while working in the bank, my wife used to work as a public service person too, as a public servant. So while working in the bank, we sat down and had a reality meeting because our family has just started and the kids were yet to come. And as they were coming, we began to proactively plan how our income was going to expand in order to be able to accommodate the new expenses that were going to come in as a result of the arrival of the children. So we thought that, look here, besides the fact that our expenses were going to increase, was the fact that we cannot is working for someone actually sustainable in the long run. So we decided to combine our efforts together in order to be able to create our own business. So we sat down, had a meeting. What would you like to do? And my wife said her passion was in distributorship. And I said, okay, I studied accounting and I've worked in the bank. I understand the bank. I have a little business development ideas. All my experiences from the bank, I'm ready to put them into whatever it is that you wanted to do. So when we approached the distributors, the distributorship company. Then, what was required for us to start to start our business that time was about 15 million, and we didn't have 5 million. So all we could afford then was 500,000. So I'm here to let you know that little beginnings does not mean you have little destiny. It does not mean little destiny. Little beginnings does not mean little destiny. You just have to start from somewhere. There is no 7, 8, 9, 10 figure business today that you see that did not start small. Every great thing starts small. Are you willing to start with the little that you have, or are you going to wait to amass so much that you don't have the managerial experience to be able to sustain? So we had just 500,000. 500,000 and 15 million are incomparable, right? So how are we going to start with the little that we have? Because if we keep the little that we have, it will continue to deplete because of the inflation in the economy, as well as the rising cost of living and the lowering standard of living. So if you have to maintain your standard of living, you're going to spend more than you are spending in an inflationary, economy. And while the cost of living is rising on a daily basis, it is depreciating the value of money and what it can take. So you find out that your take home may no longer take you home. So we decided that 500,000 could, what would it start? So we decided to look for sub distributors. And this is sub distributor, you have to start with minimum of 5 million, between 2.5 million and 5 million. So we asked, is there any other lower version? And the lower version was that was to start with 500,000. You can start with anything as a sub distributor. Now, we're going to start up as a sub distributor, but we have the clarity of what we wanted to do. We had a strategy in place. We had the energy and the synergy in place, right? A lot of people start big and crash very early. A lot of people start small, learn fast, and scale intelligently gradually. So that's exactly what we did. So we went into the market with our 500,000 and got a very nice shop in a strategic location. The 500,000 that we had was to acquire the goods. We had money to get a shop in a strategic position and to equally start off. So we started by getting a shop. Since both of us work, we'll have to get what? A sales rep. So we decided to conduct and shop for a sales rep who was going to be a graduate, gave him some orientation in sales and customer service, and then stock management. Yes, I took that, right? I undertook to train the sales rep. So, and then we had a strategy in place that we were going to explore the market. Since we're distributors, we're going to look for go into the market and offer to sell to those who sell directly to the customers. And since our shop was located strategically in one of the major streets in the town where we live, we had people stop by to buy at the distributorship price. So while it is sold in the market, while a crate of water was bottled water, a crate of bottled water was sold in the market for 350, 400. We were selling at the retail as the distributorship price 250, 300, right? So that was an advantage. So what we discovered was that there are quite a number of people around too that wanted to buy at the distributorship price around us. So what we did was to sell to them, and then we close earlier than they do. A lot of people, when they're returning back from work, they buy from those shops around. So we open by 8 and close by 5. So when we close by 5, when those that are the corporate people and those that work in offices are returning back from work and want to get water, they'll have to buy from those around at the price, right? They were selling at 300, go to the market, you buy at 300. So it's still the same thing. Since they could buy from us at 250, they could sell at 300. So turnover was more important than the margin. If you want to sell at 350, right, then you would have to wait. You may not sell up to 50 or 100 kits in a week. But if you're going to sell at 300, you might exhaust 1 or 200 cartons in a day or two, right? While we can sell between 8 to 5, we can sell more than that to them. So you can see that we were able to understand how the market works. And then I also took my intelligence to the corporate space and went to the hotels and to the supermarkets and the eateries to supply them and give them 7 to 14 days leverage to pay us. So that also. So I wrote business proposals and circulated, went around all the hotels in the neighborhood and went to the market and offered them this credit facility. And the hotels were able to give me an LPO, right? You give me an LPO for 7 to 14 days. So after 2 weeks, you can come get your money, right? And by so doing, they bought in quantities. Some will buy 100, 200 cases. Remember, we're working with what? Just 500,000. Before you know it, we grew from sub distributors to distributors, sub distributors. And then from sub distributors, we became distributors. And eventually, we grew to strategic partners covering the entire region, the Aba, Cross River, Aba, Akwa Ibom, Cross River State region. Strategic partners from sub distributors. But then you can see the steps between being a sub distributor to becoming a strategic partner of our suppliers demanded certain things, certain basics, certain fundamentals, certain rudiments that you must understand. So, little beginnings do not mean little destiny. But then, great things start small. And what are the things that must be in place if you have to move from your 0 hour to the hero space, right? To move your business from zero earnings to 7-figure earnings. There has to be clarity. There has to be business understanding. There has to be a strategy, right? There has to be customer centricity, and there has to be financial cash flow and financial management. So, management capacity is inevitable. At the same time, your visionary outlook, which is about the clarity. Are you in this game for short term margin or short term gain, or you want to be in business for the long haul? It's important to be able to clarify that. So, in designing your economy, one of the first things to do is to know exactly what you want. And number two is to know who you are, what you want to achieve, and what are your skills. Know what your personal distinctions are. What are your personal distinctions? When we talk about personal distinction, your unique selling proposition. What are your unique skills? What is it that you do differently than others? What are the tools that you can leverage? Then the next thing to do is to create a system with a strategy that will help you succeed, right? You create a system with a strategy that will help you succeed. You get proactive by the knowledge of how to manufacture demand and manage income, right? Manufacture demand, manage your growth, and manage your income, right? So that's how you scale, right? You move. So within this is a combination of strategies, thinking, what to do's, templates that will help you. All are encompassed in what I call the Design Your Economy Blueprint, which is a step by step guide into how you can start from zero and take yourself to the seven figure. You can design your own economy and live life on your own terms. By the time we're able to create this business and establish it, I work late. So, as a corporate employee, as a banker, then I had to battle with work-life balance. I had to battle with what lack of time, yes, overwork, getting overworked. My wife is a public servant, so that could cushion that, right? So that could cushion that. But as time progressed, I migrated this same knowledge into my own space, especially when I left banking, right? In order for me not to be stranded, I had to transfer the same mindset, to understand the same blueprint into my own professional space, which gave me an opportunity to be able to work with the kind of people I want to work with. I am not dependent on salary. I create my own clients, charge what I want, create the value that they want for them, solve their problems, meet them at the point of their needs, and they happily pay me and confidently refer others to me. And the issue of whatever price at which anything is sold is no longer a problem. So I am working at my best. I can live life on my own time. I decide when I want to work, who I want to work with, and at what rate I want to work. I have created my own economy. I am not depending on what the economy because I have identified what my unique value proposition is, and I'm able to manufacture demand to those who need exactly what I need. What is the solution that I can create for this side of people, my target audience? Who are the people that I can serve? What are their pains? What solution can I bring them? How can I help them make more money? How can I reduce their expenses? How can I save them from trouble, right? How can I prevent them from entering into trouble, and how can I collapse time for them and help them to live life on their own terms? So you can see, little beginnings don't really mean a little destiny. It only takes that, all it takes is for you to design your own economy and live life on your own terms. And if this looks like what you intend to do, then I would employ you to attend one of our workshops. We have our workshop, Design Your Economy workshop, twice in a month. And if you attend any of this workshop, you get a crystal clear understanding of how to design your own economy, irrespective of wherever it is that you work, whether you're presently working on a job or you are an entrepreneur and you intend to design work, or you're a factory worker, or probably a teacher, right? That's another thing entirely. I have a book that I wrote, The Millionaire Teacher, how you can become a millionaire teacher and stop struggling with the pay notes that you are paid at your workplace, how you will not lose your passion, and you will not be frustrated being a teacher, right? That's that book. You can get that book, and if you attend any of our workshop, of course, there will be times when we're going to discuss that, and I know very well that you are not going to regret that. My name is Julius Afolabi, and I am the creator of the Design Your Economy Blueprint. It's called the Stress Free Abundance Blueprint. I help growth focused individuals, consultants, coaches, and expert entrepreneurs to be able to design their own economy by creating compatible business solutions that are locally compatible and globally competitive, that invites what a premium for them, make them highly paid, highly sought after, highly profiled business persons and career persons, right? So I would see you in the next video. Thank you.